Hello televiewers, and thanks for joining us on this edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime, coming to you live from our studios at Fengudron, Mbange, here in the nation's economic capital, Douala. My name is Lasha Kingsley. Tonight on the program, we are going to be looking at the 5-day sit-in strike called by lawyers in Cameroon. We are asking if the lawyers are going to call off the strike after their meeting with government officials in Yaoundé recently. In the second part of the program, we are going to look at the court case against Professor Maurice Kamto and the state of Cameroon, which opened today in Yaoundé at the military court. And of course, the court case was adjourned to October 8, 2019. Already in the studios are our panelists. I'm going to start with Prince Joel Mukange, who is a journalist here in Douala. Prince, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me, Lasha Kingsley. Good evening to the million telespectators of My Media Prime and of Prime Hour particularly. It is always a pleasure being part of the team.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Lasha.
Salomon Bia, who is a jurist. Bonsoir, bienvenue.
Bonsoir, Kingsley, bonsoir très chers co-panélistes et bonsoir aux nombreux téléspectateurs de My Media Prime. C'est un honneur pour moi d'être ici ce soir une fois de plus pour essayer d'éduquer, d'informer l'ensemble des Camerounais d'ici et d'ailleurs sur l'atmosphère sociopolitique qui plane en ce moment dans notre pays.
Mbaku Jude is equally with us here in the studio. He is a journalist. Mbaku Jude, thanks so much for honoring the invitation.
Thank you very much, Lasha Kingsley. It's amazing to have you on the platform as host for today's edition.
Welcome.
Extend regards to the usual host, Kumu Leonard, and yes, to everybody who's watching My Media Prime this evening.
Yeah, Tayon Evis he will equally be part of us. He is caught somewhere in traffic. He will be joining us in course of the program. I'm going to throw this question to every one of you in the studio so we can begin the debate. The strike called by lawyers in Cameroon, when you look at the socio-political, that's an unprecedented socio-political crisis that is facing Cameroon. Do you guys think that the strike is timely? Is it not going to plunge Cameroon into further chaos? I begin with Mbaku Jude.
Well, Kingsley, I honestly think that everything that's happening in Cameroon now, it's not by chance. Cameroon is a country where we've had opportunities, times without numbers to address pertinent issues as they've always come up. Unfortunately, we have not been able to have a system that listens to people because it is timely. It is timely. What other time do we have? If rights of people are being violated, if the judicial process of the country is not being followed, it is just very important that people wake up from their slumber. So I think it is time and it is the most appropriate time.
Monsieur Salomon Bia, est-ce que le moment est approprié pour la grève?
Premièrement, je voudrais apporter un peu un éclairci. Les avocats ne grèvent pas. Déjà, le barreau du Cameroun appartient à l'État du Cameroun. C'est le seul ordre parmi tous les autres qui est né par un décret. C'est pour ça que le barreau doit être considéré comme étant une institution entière de la République du Cameroun. Maintenant, il peut arriver que le barreau, qui est un acteur de la justice, à travers les nombreux avocats qui siègent dans ce barreau, peut constater un ensemble d'irrégularités et essayer de bousculer le pouvoir, puisque c'est lui qui est en charge de réguler la société, pour qu'il essaye de voir dans quelle mesure les droits des citoyens dont ils défendent au quotidien dans les tribunaux et les cours, et aussi dans les institutions de sécurité publique, pour que ces droits-là soient respectés. Alors, il s'est tenu à Yaoundé, au niveau du barreau du Cameroun, n'est-ce pas, une réunion qui a sorti de certaines résolutions, mais qui, à la base, a fait des constats. C'est de ça qu'il est question. A fait des constats que la justice camerounaise ne respecte pas un ensemble de procédures.
Ma question reste, est-ce que le moment est approprié?
Je suis en train de venir. Ne respectez pas un ensemble de procédures Et comme le service, la justice, c'est un service public, et que l'un des principes forts du service public, c'est la continuité, alors il n'y a pas de moment précis pour qu'on puisse apporter des ajustements ou qu'on puisse dénoncer les mauvais fonctionnements de la justice. Donc il n'apparaît donc pas que cette situation où le barreau du Cameroun et l'ensemble, n'est-ce pas, des avocats sont outrés de par le mauvais fonctionnement de la justice apparaît comme étant inopportun. Non, le Cameroun vit et tous les instants au Cameroun sont des instants où on doit revendiquer les libertés, où on doit protester pour que la justice soit équitable et respectée et où on peut essayer de bousculer le pouvoir pour qu'un ensemble de droits et de libertés soient respectés.
Merci.
Je pense qu'il ne s'agit pas, comme certains pensent, d'un complot contre la République du Cameroun, mais il s'avère juste que nous sommes dans une république
On
où
va
ceux qui
revenir,
nous gèrent
on va revenir,
ont créé
Monsieur Salomon
l'inertie.
Dia. On va revenir. Merci, merci. Prince Joel, when you look at this strike, is it timely? Take into consideration the moment that Cameroon is going through a lot at this time. Don't you think this strike, if it actually holds, is going to plunge Cameroon into further chaos?
No, not quite. I think it is very timely, but individually and personally, I think it's a bit late. It's late because human rights abuses in the country, this is not the first case. And I think that for lawyers who go under the banner of the Cameroon Bar Association that have as their president, Chakunte, I think that they are simply adding pressure to other international organizations that have already mounted pressure to the country, Cameroon and the head of state, that there is excessive human rights abuses in the country, Cameroon. If you look at the videos that come out from the northwest and the southwest, if you look at what is happening in the north, if you look at the prison conditions of prisoners in the country, Cameroon, Elisha, a very glaring example was that which occurred on July 22 and 23. And the Boya Central prisons. I just feel that the lawyers think that they want to add their voices to that of the masses, which I think is now late. It is very, very timely. And the question is, I think one of the things we should be looking at is the fact that if they do not call it off, because they met with the minister delegate, that is Jean-Didier Momo, who is in charge of justice, and we know what Cameroon and we know what Cameroonians are capable of doing. In their meeting, one could already see some lawyers' feet dragging, which we maybe think that they sit, because they want to have a sit-down strike. We feel that maybe after their meeting with the minister, like the jurists on the panel said, that they belong to the country, the minister may influence them. But like I said before, I think it is very, very timely. It is timely because the human rights abuses in Cameroon are extremely too much. While living in a country where, Lasha, when somebody goes to a police college and graduates, I'm not diverting from the question, when somebody spends 9 months in the police college in Mutengene, comes out, and even if you tell him a journalist, you say, mais fiche-moi le camp, qu'est-ce qu'on fait avec ça? You give your ID card to a police officer. There are human rights abuses in the country. If these lawyers can sit the strike or the strike that they are coming up with, if you can bring the country back to respect the penal code, to respect the laws and regulations of the country, then give them a pat on the back.
Thank you, Joel. Let me go back to Mbaku Jude. Mbaku, is this strike not politically motivated? Some people believe that politicians are behind this move taken by the Bar Council. What is your opinion?
Let me be very straight here. In fact, the lawyers are on this strike. What you have in the northwest and the southwest region started because of the lawyers who went on strike, as well as the teachers. And over the years, these are people who have often cried out loud that we have, if lawyers are one of the most educated, intelligent people in the society, those calls that are very respected, teachers as well. If these people can stand up and say there's a problem in society, I don't think many people should begin to judge them, because these are the people who hold your rights. These are the people who hold, who understand when your rights are being violated.
But they can be manipulated.
It's true that they can be
political
manipulated.
gains.
But if it's true, well, but our context is clear. Prince was already quoting instances of right abuses which we've been seeing, maybe in the far north, where we have people being executed anyhow. In the northwest and the southwest, we have prisons that are full, 800 capacity prison, we have 3,000 people in there. Those are things that are glaring. then we may have those political aspects, but the ones that have been advanced, that all of us have seen, are not political. We have issues in this country where people will disrespect the laws of the country, the criminal procedure code, blatantly. People go against the constitution of the country. People craft laws that are there to keep them for a particular purpose. So it is not like there's no political connotation. It might be, but so far I have not seen one. Because the issues that are being raised by the lawyers are issues that every Cameroonian can see, even if you're blind. You have people who were arrested before even the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest went bloody. We had people who were arrested before it went to an armed insurrection. We equally have people up north who were just bundled because Boko Haram insurgency, they were just bundled and their rights are being violated. We have people who have, in one way or the other, find themselves in the prison for just no cause. And when a lawyer who has studied rights of the people, who knows what it is for a society to function, goes to the penitentiary authority to say, this, we have to do this, we have to do this, it becomes a problem. They are even threatened. It's not long that we had a lawyer of, is it MRC? Yeah. Sorry, yeah, MRC, Michelle Doki, who is already serving her jail term. We equally had another one that was beaten mercilessly.
But she was seen protesting.
Yeah, is it a crime to protest?
And there are laws, fundamental laws of states,
laws
which
of the
must
state
be respected by every citizen.
Yes, and that is the problem we have with the laws. The laws are very bad laws in this country. They are crafted to protect a set of people. I must say this, especially laws like what I have seen and read of the anti-terrorism law. These are laws that are supposed to be applied in very extreme cases. We take and apply on civilians because we have some stuff to protect. And that is where you see lawyers are coming up to say that these are the kind of things that have angered Cameroonians, that have totally made the judicial process of the country useless. So it is just but important that they come and articulate these issues. If they don't, who else? They are also caught in the web. You have a client in court. I've seen many lawyers crying out that they have gone to visit their clients in court, but have been bull-treated, maltreated by common warders. So how do we begin to understand that a state where a state has actually become a police state, where a warder, a policeman, will talk to a lawyer who understands right just anyhow when it comes to a client? So for me, I don't see any for now, except the political aspect will be coming up when these people go now and see the regime, and the regime begins to play a fast one on them. We understand these things that have been happening.
Thank you. Salomon Bia, le président de votre parti, c'est un avocat, certainement. Mais il y a certaines l'opinion publique, certaines personnes croient que la grève des avocats a une relation avec le procès de votre président.
Alors, s'il y a une relation avec le procès, est-ce un délit? Je ne crois pas. Il faut à un certain moment donné que les Camerounais...
Certains pensent que le leader de votre parti est manipulé par certains pouvoirs d'étrangers.
Ce n'est pas mauvais de penser. Ce n'est donc plus mauvais d'avoir une opinion. Mais en réalité, quand on est en démocratie, on doit laisser la liberté de penser. On doit laisser la possibilité aux gens d'avoir une opinion. Mais notre rôle, en tant que leader d'opinion, c'est de venir expliquer le fonctionnement des choses pour que les gens puissent prendre la véritable hauteur de ce qui se passe aujourd'hui. Il me souvient que quand je regarde souvent des émissions à la télévision, je vois des avocats qui appartiennent à d'autres partis politiques et qui ne sont pas du MRC. Alors, le fait qu'un avocat appartient à un parti politique...
Il peut avoir les agendas cachés.
Le fait qu'un avocat appartient à un parti politique fait de lui quelqu'un d'autre ou bien le met aux antipodes de l'exercice de sa profession. Ce n'est pas de ça qu'il est question. Il faut bien que les gens comprennent. L'avocat est celui-là qui défend la société quand un individu du moins qui défend un individu quand celui-là a violé une disposition de la règle de droit dans la société. Et cet avocat le fait dans le strict respect des lois et procédures des tribunaux et des cours de gestion de notre pays. C'est de ça qu'il est question. Et dans l'exercice de sa fonction, qui est le conseil ou la défense, il a pour seul objet la loi qu'il utilise, les outils de droit. Celui pour qui ces outils sont utilisés est le citoyen. Donc, la protestation des avocats ne regarde pas seulement des avocats, ça regarde d'abord le citoyen. Et la justice camerounaise, parce que c'est au nom du peuple camerounais que cette justice est rendue. Donc je ne vois pas pourquoi les gens vont se mettre à penser qu'il s'agit de la manipulation ou bien qu'il y a un agenda caché. Je vais vous expliquer quelque chose. Est-ce que c'est sérieux dans un pays qu'on vous donne une convocation et le jour où vous présentez dans une unité de police ou de gendarmerie, sans même savoir pourquoi vous êtes convoqué, on vous met en cellule? Est-ce que c'est normal que vous vous présentez, vous déférez à une convocation en présence de votre conseil qui est un avocat et qu'il essaye par les moyens que la loi lui donne ou le droit pour protéger vos intérêts? En face de vous, on le brutalise et on le met en cellule, votre avocat. Est-ce qu'il est normal dans un pays où la loi est respectée, un pays qui se dit démocratique, qu'on puisse arrêter les gens avec pour base les mandats de perquisition? Est-ce qu'il est normal qu'on puisse garder en cellule des personnes pour 2, 3, 4 semaines, 1 voire 6 mois, avec pour seul motif la garde à vue? C'est de ça qu'il est question. Alors, si nous disons que nous sommes dans un pays de droit, le minimum qu'on puisse demander au système politique, bien que n'ayant plus l'assentiment populaire, est le strict respect des normes que nous-mêmes nous sommes fixées. Je pense que c'est ça qui s'appelle la liberté. Et le barreau du Cameroun, vous permettez une seule seconde que je chute, le barreau du Cameroun, qui est, n'est-ce pas, dans la majorité fait des avocats du Cameroun, qui est une institution camerounaise et qui a le devoir de défendre les libertés, n'est que dans l'exercice complet de ses droits, parce que c'est de ça qu'il s'agit.
Merci. Joel, how genuine is this strike?
The genuineness of the strike, I think that lawyers, it's true, if you want to look at their sit-down strike, like before, it's at one time, first of all, the fact that there is human rights excesses in the country that nobody is ignorant of. And secondly, as an independent observer, I think that the lawyers are also touched by the inhumane treatment that their colleague is going through. That we're talking about Professor Maurice Kamto.
And of course, the colleague happens to be the person who drafted the penal code.
No, that is a fact. That is a fact. And I think that, but I know and I feel that one of the reasons why Professor Maurice Kamto's case was adjourned today, because some of us from our in-house sources were already, something was supposed to happen today. A verdict was normally supposed to come up. But on one side, the head of state has the pressure from lawyers who say if they are going to come up with a strike, and the other side, there is the school, back to school fever that is dwindling in the northwest and the southwest. And adding salt to an injury is what the head of state maybe will not want to do. That is why they decided, or maybe to postpone the case. But I think that the strike, genuineness, yes, it may be genuine because the human rights excesses are glaring. There is nobody who is ignorant to the fact that Cameroon is a country where there is no human rights respect. They do not respect the rights of persons in Cameroon. That is clear. It is only in Cameroon where, like I said before, that there are advising on personal opinion. I sat somewhere and a police officer comes on what they call Kale. And when you even show your ID card, I was shocked that a uniform officer seized the green, red, yellow of the country and tramples it on the ground. It's only in Cameroon you see things like that. So the lawyers feel that if they go on strike, it is going to like mount pressure on the head of state, or it's going to, because when the head of state is the
We've
one.
heard that in the Northwest, it has not mounted, it didn't mount any
no,
pressure.
Leo was, or rather, that one rather was a group of lawyers that were under the banner.
Education Center, visa vers le Canada et le monde.
Seeking a career in agriculture? Consider St. Louis Higher Institute of Agriculture, where students can build their interest in various farming systems by tailoring their study of agriculture to production, processing, and marketing agribusinesses, making them job providers and not seekers. St. Louis Higher Institute of Agriculture offers relevant practical education developed and delivered by experts and teachers who believe in teaching by demonstration. St. Louis Complex also offers through its Higher Institute of Medical Studies professional HND in nursing, midwifery, physiotherapy, pharmacy technology, medical lab sciences, dental therapy, radiology, and ultrasonography. We are located at Bonaberry Double opposite Nestle. Contact us on 678-435-138 or 677-764-674.
Wow, c'est parti avec la rentrée scolaire pour cette année. Are you looking for a good school for your children come September? All road leads to the great Nelson Mandela Bilingual Comprehensive College Bonaberry, which stands tall, with a perfect and conducive environment for studies, very qualified and experienced staff, work-equipped free library services, and affordable school fees. Admission for this academic year is currently going on from Mondays to Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Get your child enrolled now, for chances are limited. Le collège Nelson Mandela est situé à Bonaberry Bipele, après la paroisse Saint-Joseph. Contact. Bravo! Vous avez gagné.
Being one of more than 200 majors of HIPMAT, I am proud of my success. It all began at HIPMAT.
I am a CEO. I coach and lead a team of salespeople. I don't hesitate to tell them the vision was planted and molded by HIPMAT.
Today, I stand on a pedestal of experienced and committed lecturers. The foundation was laid by HIPMAT.
For over a decade, HIPMAT's credibility and ministerial recognition have trained more than 15,000 professionals in business management and engineering from HND to BTech, MBA, and what have you. With an outstanding partnership with the University of Bamenda for BTech and MBA programs, our undoubted commitment to your show's success is a reflection of the future you painted. The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, HIPMAT, a university for professionals.
Regional officer for Meme has signed a 2-day suspension for all activities in his area of command. Ntuondong Chamberlain signed the communique today in Kumba. One of the founding fathers of African liberation, Robert Mugabe, has kicked the bucket. The former Zimbabwean president died today in Singapore at the age of 95. Those were the top stories, the news. Up next with Metuga Stanley. La Ngalame. The population of Meme Division, Southwest Region is trapped between the administration and the separatist fighters as the senior divisional officer for Meme, Ntuondong Chamberlain, has suspended all activities in the town of Kumba. According to the senior divisional officer's communique, the suspension of activities in the city of Kumba will run from September 7th to the 8th. Details with Tamfu Sidwan from Kumba.
Just like Jesus Christ was nailed on the cross of Calvary, the population of Kumba has been nailed on the cross following the battle of authority between the separatists and the local administration. The population here has been unable to carry on normal activities since Monday, the 2nd September 2019. And according to the separatist activists, activities are supposed to resume this Saturday, 7 September and Sunday, 8th of September 2019. But the senior divisional officer for Meme, Ntuondong Chamberlain, in a radio communique dated September 5, stated that due to the prevailing security situation in Meme Division and Kumba in particular, that all markets, commercial stores, filling stations, commercial bikes, taxis and inter-urban transport are hereby prohibited to operate or circulate in Meme Division from Saturday the 7th to Sunday the 8th of September 2019. This prohibition does not concern vehicles of administrative authorities, forces of law and order, ambulances, funerals, private vehicles and pharmacies. Normal activities will resume on Monday 9 September 2019. Defaulters will face the law. From the communique, the battle for supremacy continues as separatist fighters had declared Monday a non-working day in the two English regions, and this will be closely followed by another lockdown from Tuesday. The population is fixed as untold sufferings will continue since none of the parties in the armed conflicts seem to have favored the civilian through their calls. The SDO had earlier on the 5th of September sealed shops in some quarters in Kumba because of the inability of the population to respect calls to frustrate ghost towns in the division. Business people will certainly not be comfortable with the SDO's decision, and on the other part, access to foodstuff has been blocked as traders will be unable to offer their services to the public. Kumba, being the economic hub of the Southwest region, is now losing its values to the current situation.
The case between the state of Cameroon and leaders of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party has been adjourned to October 8, 2019. The presiding judge, Madame Abega, made the declaration today in Yaoundé after the CRM leaders had their first court hearing. Gienda Peldrin Blanche tells us more in the following report.
The court case of the leader of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party and some of his close aides has been adjourned to October 8, 2019. The court case was adjourned because of lack of space at the military court and fainting of one of the accused, Christian Penda Ekuka. After the results of the October 7, 2018 presidential election proclaimed by the Constitutional Council, former Minister of Justice and 2008 presidential candidate Professor Maurice Kamto of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM party, against all odds, refused to accept the results of the elections. Sending out warning signal at a press conference last October 26, 2018, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Minister Paul Atanganji, plainly stated that Professor Maurice Kamto of the CRM political party should stay off government's drawn red line or be ready to face the wrath of the law and state troops. He also stated that the administration had so far shown proof of tolerance and will no longer tolerate any disorder as an attempt to disrupt public order. Monday, 28 January 2019, Maurice Kamto was arrested alongside several other opposition figures after a staged protest organized by the political party to express dissatisfaction on the election results and poor management of affairs in the country. January 31, 2019, Cameroon's opposition leader Maurice Kamto was charged with sedition, insurrection, and inciting violence. According to Barrister Christopher Ndong, the lawyer of Maurice Kamto, he faced a total of 8 charges, and if found guilty, he could face a sentence of 5 years in prison. After protests erupted in the capital and several other towns in the country, Communication Minister Rene Emmanuel Sadi accused Maurice Kamto and MRC for trying to destabilize the government. Similar violence escalated in Paris and other countries, but MRC officials, however, denied organizing protests abroad. Maurice Kamto denounced this act of vandalism. On the 7th of March 2019, the Mfundi High Court rejected appeals from lawyers to free Maurice Kamto and 6 of his allies. April 3, 2019, Kamto and co appealed to be tried in an open courtroom, but they were denied of any public hearing. The hearing scheduled for today, September 6, 2019, has been adjourned to the 8th of October 2019. One of the reasons being the courtroom too small to contain all lawyers and detainees. One of the detainees, Christian Penda Ekoka, fainted, and according to nurses, he wasn't getting enough air in the courtroom, hence his malaise. At this, the presiding judge, Madame Abega, adjourned the case to October 8, 2019. Perhaps the words of Minister Paul Atanganji on October 26, 2019 did not go in vain. The government's drawn red line has been crossed, and someone somewhere has got to face the wrath of the law and state troops.
The committee in charge of evaluating the May 31st Sonara accident have ended their evaluation exercise with victims of the sad incident. They visited the various villages affected by the incident to get first-hand information. Kuma Onorembo tells us more from Limbe.
It is exactly 3 months since the Sonara fire accident that caused panic and fear to the surrounding villages of Limbe 2 subdivision. The affected population from 8 villages drawn from the Limbe 2 subdivision converged at the palaces of their respective chiefdoms for an evaluation exercise convened by the Senior Divisional Officer for Faku, Emmanuel Ngamba Ledu, head of the evaluation committee, appointed by an interministerial decision set up for the aforementioned purpose. The Senior Divisional Officer for Faku was represented by the Second Assistant Senior Divisional Officer, Madame Eposi Catherine, with the Divisional Officer of Limbe 2 Subdivision, Dunga Emaran, and the divisional delegates of State Property and Land Tenure, Environment and Nature Protection for Faku Division as members of the Evaluation Committee. Sonara was represented in the exercise by the Technical Advisor to the General Manager, Muhammad Nayelwa. Those affected by the incident were given a form to fill to attach with a photocopy of their national identification card, a building permit, and pictures of the damages recorded. The evaluation exercise took the theme to the villages of Batoke, Limbola, Mukundange, Bobende, Ngeme, Lower Bwando and Mukindi village, just to mention but these few. Mukundange and Limbola villages are the main host of Sonara. Inhabitants of these villages were heavily touched during the sad Sunday night incident of the 31st of May 2019.
Sonara is under Mukundange. So you see the impact was too heavy for the Mukundange population. And so people ran to the forest just because of what happened that day. So the impact was very severe in Mukundange than other villages nearby. This is important to the community because, you know, since this thing happened, some people who were viable tried to repair their damages. For those who are not viable, they persevere to see that the team will pass and do the evaluation.
People had already lost their hope, that they were not sure that the government is going to do something. But today they have seen for themselves that the government has started doing something. It took us, everybody, as a surprise. It is something we did not expect. So when we saw it, everybody was surprised. Even myself, I was already asleep.
It is worth mentioning to note that this is the last evaluation exercise to be carried out by the evaluation committee for those affected by the Sonara fire accident that caused panic to the entire population of Limbe.
You are watching the 7:45 primetime newscast from My Media Prime. We are beaming from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. The Central African Association of Traditional and Native Rulers are on a peaceful crusade mission in the southwest region of Cameroon. After visiting the Southwest Governor's office this Friday morning, the delegation later visited Limbe to extend their solidarity to their peers who are greatly hit by the current Anglophone crisis. At the end of their courtesy call in Faku Division, the traditional and native rulers held a press conference with media men and women. Details of this story will be brought to you in our subsequent newscast. The mayor of the Buea municipality, alongside the governor of the Southwest region, made their presence felt yesterday as they promised to sanction business persons adhering to the lockdown calls initiated by the separatist leaders. Our Buea-based correspondent, Ikomi Christinuela Eposi, tells us more in the following report.
In a bid to frustrate the lockdown plans initiated by the separatist fighters as well as those in the diaspora, the Lord Mayor of the Buea municipality, Ikema Patrick Esunge, in a recent outing, embarked on an Operation Lock Up All Stores adhering to the lockdown calls. September 4, 2019, the outing took a different twist as the mayor was this time around accompanied by the governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Okalia-Bilai. Their outing was aimed at unsealing the shops of business persons who showed signs of remorse by reporting present at their business premises, and those who continued being absent were given an ultimatum to open their shops and sell or face the wrath of the government. Their shops were to be sealed till the month of January if they continue adhering to the lockdown calls. The Lord Mayor, Ikema Patrick Esunge, explains that the Operation Seal and Unseal Shops has been going on for over 3 years, but has been intensified recently to enable pupils and students go back to school. The presence of the governor and his entourage today, he added, was to boost the activities, which was re-intensified on Monday, September 2, 2019. He invited the population of Buea to remain calm, stay void of threat messages, fake news, and focus on what the future holds for them. While security measures have been put to make sure that business places remain open and students go back to school, it is worth mentioning that the population of Buea are still in a state of pandemonium, especially as many still live in fear of the unknown. Nonetheless, the government is doing everything within its power to combat the fear so that things return to normalcy, instill calmness in the city, and ensure an effective resumption of classes.
Out of Cameroon, former Zimbabwean President Robert Gabriel Mugabe is no more. The last icon in the African pantheon of liberation died today in Singapore at the age of 95. Mugabe, who fought for the independence of Zimbabwe in 1980, ruled the South African nation for 37 years before going on forceful retirement in 2017. Details in the following report. President Emmerson Mnangagwa announced in a tweet this Friday the death of his predecessor, Robert Gabriel Mugabe. Former President Mugabe, who ruled Zimbabwe for 27 years, died in Singapore at the age of 95. According to President Mnangagwa, Robert Mugabe was an iconic liberator, a Pan-Africanist who dedicated his life to the emancipation and empowerment of his people. His contribution to the history of our nation and continent will never be forgotten, President Emmerson Mnangagwa added. Born on February 21, 1924, into a Catholic family at Katuma Mission, northwest of Harare, Mugabe was described as a loner and a studious child, known to carry a book even while tending cattle in the bush. The death of his carpenter father when he was 10 years old made the young Mugabe to concentrate on his studies and became a school teacher at the age of 17. His teaching career took him to Ghana, where he was influenced by late President Kwame Nkrumah. He returned to Rhodesia in 1964 and was detained for 10 years because of his nationalist activities. While in prison, Mugabe gained 3 degrees through correspondences and was later released in 1974, where he formed the Zimbabwe African National Party, ZANU. In 1980, during the presidential elections, the former political prisoner and guerrilla leader swept power and initially won international support for his declared policy of racial reconciliation and improved educational and health services to the black majority. His violent seizure of white-owned farms 2 decades later completed Mugabe's transformation into an international pariah. One of the world's most recognizable leaders, with his thin stripe of mustache and thick rimmed spectacles, embraced his new role as the antagonist of the West. He had been rumored for years to have prostate cancer, but according to the official account, his frequent trips to Singapore were related to his treatment of cataracts. As his health weakened, the military finally intervened in late 2017 to ensure that his wife Gracie's presidential ambitions were ended in favor of their preferred candidate. Robert Gabriel Mugabe leaves behind 2 sons and a daughter and a 41-year-old wife. Safe journey to the last African pantheon of liberation. Rest in peace, Bob. Those were the few stories we had for you tonight on our Primetime Newscast live on My Media Prime Television. Before taking leave of you, a recap of our top stories. The Senior Divisional Officer for Meme has called for a 2-day suspension of all activities in his area of command. Ntuondong Chamberlain signed a communique today in Kumba. One of the founding fathers of African liberation, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, has kicked the bucket. The former Zimbabwean president died today in Singapore at the age of 95. The news was produced and compiled by Lasha Kingsley and Ewane Nolinga Eli. For presentation, I've been Metuga Stanley La Ngalame, signing out from Douala, Cameroon. Good night and happy weekend.
Being one of more than 200 majors of HIPMAT, I am proud of my success. It all began at HIPMAT.
I am a CEO. I coach and lead a team of salespeople. I don't hesitate to tell them the vision was planted and molded by HIPMAT.
Today, I stand on a pedestal of experienced and committed lecturers. The foundation was laid by HIPMAT.
For over a decade, HIPMAT's credibility and ministerial recognition have trained more than 15,000 professionals in business management and engineering from HND to BTech, MBA, and what have you. With an outstanding partnership with the University of Bamenda for BTech and MBA programs, our undoubted commitment to your show's success is a reflection of the future you painted. The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, HIPMAT, a university for professionals.
De l'inédit au Cameroun, le tout premier collège canadien ouvre ses portes dès septembre 2019. Performance Education Center, en partenariat avec les grandes écoles canadiennes, offre aux élèves du second cycle un cadre prestigieux, calme et propice pour des études avec des enseignants chevronnés canadiens et camerounais. À Performance Education Center, obtenez le baccalauréat canadien, vous ouvrant automatiquement les portes des plus grandes universités canadiennes et du monde via les bourses d'études garanties. Performance Education Center propose également des programmes de formation bilingue de 2 ans permettant d'obtenir un permis de travail au Canada après obtention d'une attestation d'études collégiales du Québec équivalent du BTS sous l'assistance de Performance Immigration Canada. Performance Education Center est situé à Locbessou, derrière Antenne CRTV, 10e avenue. Performance Education Center, visa vers le Canada et le monde.
Seeking a career in agriculture? Consider St. Louis Higher Institute of Agriculture, where students can build their interest in various farming systems by tailoring their study of agriculture to production, processing, and marketing agribusinesses, making them job providers and not seekers. St. Louis Higher Institute of Agriculture offers relevant practical education developed and delivered by experts and teachers who believe in teaching by demonstration. St. Louis Complex also offers through its Higher Institute of Medical Studies professional HND in nursing, midwifery, physiotherapy, pharmacy technology, medical lab sciences, dental therapy, radiology, and ultrasonography. We are located at Bonaberin Double opposite Nestle. Contact us on 678-435-138 or 677-764-674.
Wow! c'est parti avec la rentrée scolaire pour cette année. Are you looking for a good school for your children come September? All road leads to the great Nelson Mandela Bilingual Comprehensive College Bonaberry, which stands tall, with a perfect and conducive environment for studies, very qualified and experienced staff, well-equipped free library services and affordable school fees. Admission for this academic year is currently going on from Mondays to Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Get your child enrolled now, for chances are limited. Le collège Nelson Mandela est situé à Bonaberry Bipele, après la paroisse Saint-Joseph. Contact. Bravo! Vous avez gagné.
La musique comme jamais sur votre télévision. My Music TV. Votre chaîne musicale du groupe DT Media. C'est une sélection de qualité des musiques du Cameroun et de l'Afrique. Interviews, shout-outs, émissions télé. My Music TV. C'est la couverture et la production de vos concerts musicaux en direct sur nos antennes et enregistrés. My Music TV est sur le satellite ABS3 et vu dans plus de 54 pays et sur les réseaux sociaux. My Music TV. Feel the rhythm.
If you are just joining us, you are watching Prime Hour on My Media Prime, coming to you live in our studios at Fengudron Bange here in the nation's economic capital, Douala. Joining us in the studio is Farid Evis Tayon. He is a politician, a journalist, and so many caps. Welcome, Farid Evis.
Thank you very much, Lasha Kinsley. Thank you also for the able panelists who are present here. It's, you know, I'm happy each time I come here because we think that people must know the truth, for the truth shall set people free. And so it's once in a while important that we brave all odds to let people know the exactitude of things that are happening in this country.
Before we continue with the discussions in our studios here, we would like to go back to the newsroom and find out what the papers had for our readers today.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us on In the Press on Prime Hour. On what's making news today in Cameroon, we begin with a municipal update, which report on tax exoneration in the far north, north and southwest region of Cameroon. The paper carries the opinion of intellectuals on the said government's decision to declare the three crisis-stricken regions tax-free for investors. Drop in cost of production, increase in profit, opportunity for investors, and some of the opinions expressed by the economists. The paper also reports that Faircom award Tico Council for best practice, while L'Heure du Sahel focuses on all the intricacies surrounding the case of Professor Maurice Kamto, which opens this day at the Military Tribunal in Yaoundé. The paper also reports that the second phase of the distribution of impregnated mosquito nets will run from the 5th to the 9th of September 2019. Moving away from politics for now, let's talk something else with Mutasol newspaper. The paper captions the indomitable lions. It's been 6 months now since the population of Mbam and Kim division are living in fear. Efforts by the government to trace these lions have gone futile as experts have been hired from abroad. Le Économique, on its part, focuses on automobile industries in Cameroon. The paper says car assembly firms are running away from Cameroon. The paper further worries that many countries in Africa have firms assembling cars, but Cameroon is yet to boast of one. We end with the Guardian Post, which equally took interest in the ongoing battle between the government of Cameroon and the Bar Council. The paper writes that government pleads bar leadership on bending, plus Yaoundé deciding Kamto's fate today. On the lockdown called by separatist leaders, Mayor Ekema intensified crusade against the lockdown as well as sealed shops in Boya. That does it for In the Press on Prime Hour, brought to you by Solange Tanjo.
Thank you very much, Solange Tanjo, for that wonderful review of the papers there. I stay with Fa Evis Tayon. We are going to be discussing our second topic now, which has to do with the court case of Professor Maurice Kamto in the state of Cameroon. What is your own analysis of the whole issue?
Well, the whole issue in the first place is a political situation that tells you that we are operating in a total kangaroo system that operates in a zigzag, disorderly manner. I will let you know, obviously, that when you look at the case which I've been following critically, you realize that in the first place, the charges levied against Professor Maurice Kamto and co. are cases that were supposed to have been under the civil courts. And he, several times alongside with the lawyers, had made their petition complaining. That's why last time they were at the Fundi High Court and also at the Court of First Instance insisting that their case should be transferred from the military tribunals over to the civilian court. And these had not been heeded too. On the other hand, when you look at the development of the case, you realize that we have series of violations of their rights, of course. Because when you look at it, you look at the court proceedings and you are unable to understand the exactitude as far as the charges are concerned. And when I look at it critically too, I get to realize that with the court case against the members of the political party, you discover that it is simply a way of hitting hard and intimidating than putting in place justice as expected. Of course, we understand that in the court proceedings and the way it's supposed to be, we have other persons because it's the party against the state. And we have principal persons who quite mentioned that they were witnesses of it, and most of them are state ministers who were supposed to have been in court to act as witnesses to what they saw as crimes to have been committed by Professor Maurice Kamto and co. But they don't even come to court. So the question we start asking is, are some persons above the law? It means that...
talking about some persons above the law, yeah. it will interest you to know that the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, did warn Professor Maurice Kamto, and let me quote, yeah. If Maurice Kamto does not respect the law of the state, he is going to taste the bitterness of the law.
That's why we say
went ahead.
That's why we say that it's more of a repression. Because if you say somebody violated the law, are you going to put up a judicial system that has been cooked up to must punish him as you think?
But you have the anti-terrorism law.
Good. If you have an anti-terrorism law, what warrants him to fall under the anti-terrorism law? I will let you know that even in his outing, as per se, you ask jurists, they will tell you, when you have a political party, you simply declare your intention to manifest. And under normal condition, in a normal country that works for democratic principles, when you declare your intention to carry out manifestation, you simply give them your itinerary. If I'm to move from Bopi to Wrong Point and to Saint Michel, that's the itinerary you give. And given the duration.
But in this case, it had to do with presidential elections. He auto-declared himself president-elect.
No, it's normal. When you present yourself as president-elect, what the country should have done will be to have taken him to court or to have given him a court summon. You don't catch him and put him in prison, then you start giving charges. If he says he is president or he won the elections, the law courts are there. What do? You summon him as the government bench to come and show proofs of the fact that he won the presidential election, which means that he will not be remanded in custody first before you start telling him to answer charges. It's supposed to be done like that. If you think, because why are the law courts there? They are supposed to be for those actions whereby if I say I'm president, you summon me, you don't catch me and lock up and start saying that I marched on this day, I did this. Look at the march, the outing of Professor Maurice Kamto and co. Did you find anything like destruction? No.
But we had cases of destruction abroad, at embassies abroad.
When you have that, I keep asking this question.
They were being linked to him.
No, excuse me. I keep asking this question. You don't link a charge to somebody where you don't have substantial evidence. We're talking about politics. The fact that I went to an embassy, carried out destruction, and at the same time placed a man's picture behind me does not mean that that person sent me. Let me take you to the issue of Chad. When we had the Chadian embassy in France, that was touched. What happened? Chad itself, Idriss Déby, gave his complaint to France, and those who were in charge of that move were persecuted. Which means that in a normal condition, since as Cameroon embassy is in France, if the issues were genuine as such, it means that those who carried out the act over there in Paris should have been prosecuted. The French judicial system would have been the one to tell Cameroon, to give Cameroon the proofs that those who carried out this act were
but the
truly
person
sent.
who was masterminding the act was in Cameroon. So he
No,
was just at
when
the...
you say mastermind and act, I keep saying this, we don't work on assumptions. We work on facts. And when you work on facts, you should be able to prove your facts beyond reasonable doubt. The fact that a man went to the embassy and then carried out instructions and put Triumphant Elvis behind does not mean that Triumphant, because we are living in a situation whereby everything is possible. We should be asking the question, could this person have been sent to tarnish Triumphant Elvis' image too? Because it's a possibility in politics. Somebody can carry an action, use my picture and say I sent him. So if it's normal, under normal condition, that took place in a French soil, there are procedures, or there are legal procedures and what they call international diplomatic procedures, which means I should be able to call the French authority judicial system. Please prop into that. They are supposed to prop into that, and then they give me the evidence, which I now work on. But from that date to today, we have not seen any official communique from the French judicial system that shows that as per the investigations, those who carried out the act at the French embassy...
Probably they were carrying out preliminary investigations.
You are still saying probably.
The court case,
we don't work on probability.
The court case just opened today in Yaoundé.
All right. You are saying just open when the proceedings had been on over and over.
I mean at the military tribunal.
Yeah. We're talking about they had been there over and over and coming in and out, in and out, in and out with several cases of adjournment.
Okay. We'll come back to you later on. Salomon Bia, comment comprendre que le MRC, qui a à la tête un homme de droit, le professeur Maurice Kamto, ne veut pas accepter de respecter la loi de la République?
Quelle est la loi qu'il a violée?
C'est lui-même qui a rédigé le code pénal.
Quelle est la loi qu'il a violée?
C'est ça.
Il y a plusieurs. Il a violé plusieurs. Selon le ministre
à nos concitoyens
de l'administration
qui nous
territoriale.
écoutent. Les lois dans une république n'ont que deux incidences. Soit elles viennent du Parlement, soit elles viennent de l'exécutif. Chez nous, on appelle ça soit...
Il a fait les marches interdites.
S'il vous plaît, on appelle ça chez nous soit proposition de loi, n'est-ce pas? Quand ça vient du peuple, je veux dire du Parlement, soit un projet de loi, quand ça vient de l'exécutif. Je ne sais pas si on se comprend. Un ministre ne peut pas rédiger une loi. Ce n'est pas possible. Écoutez.
Non, tu es en train de...
Je suis en train de vous
expliquer. Tu es en train d'esquiver ma question.
Je n'esquive pas votre question.
Je vous ai posé la question. Pourquoi votre président ne veut pas respecter la loi?
Je suis en train de vous expliquer. Vous êtes en train de...
Les marges étaient interdites. Il a fait les marges. Il était arrêté.
Mais je suis en train de vous expliquer encore à la question des marches. La loi de 90 dit clairement que un parti politique légalisé fait une déclaration pour expliquer à l'opinion publique les raisons de sa marche. Et la marche ne doit pas bénéficier de ce qu'on appelle une autorisation pour qu'elle puisse avoir lieu. Maintenant, la seule chose qu'il doit dire à l'autorité publique, c'est l'objet de la marche pour que celui-ci puisse prendre des mesures de sécurité pour encadrer. On me dit que le Cameroun, c'est un État démocratique. Alors, quel est cet État démocratique où on exige aux partis politiques, qui sont des institutions politiques et qui n'ont pour seul terrain d'expression la manifestation et les marches publiques, les réunions d'éducation et de sensibilisation et les meetings publics. Comment on peut expliquer à un parti politique de ne pas s'adresser à la population par la voie d'un meeting ou d'une
par le
marche?
ministre de l'administration
Le ministre de l'administration territoriale sort toujours de son cadre d'expression. Ce n'est qu'au Cameroun où on voit un ministre de l'administration territoriale désigné qui est président d'un parti politique et de dire quel parti politique doit fonctionner et lequel ne doit pas fonctionner. Ce n'est que la preuve de ce que nous sommes dans une république d'imposture et de forfaiture. Et chez nous, au MRC, vous êtes aujourd'hui sans oublier, je ne viendrai pas sur ce plateau, sortir de façon exhaustive, n'est-ce pas, le CV du président élu Maurice Kamto. Mais nous avons en droit un principe qui dit qui peut le plus, peut le moins. Vous ne pouvez pas expliquer que quelqu'un siège au curatorium de droit, qu'il est adulé, respecté par toutes les instances internationales, qui enseignent le Cameroun en la matière ce que c'est que les principes de droit, et venir au Cameroun être insulté par ceux-là même qui n'ont jamais fait des preuves en matière de droit. Je vous dis encore, si c'est la question de droit dont il est question, je ne pense pas que ceux-là dont vous êtes en train de faire allusion peuvent, un temps soit peu, enseigner au professeur élu Maurice Kamto ce que c'est que la règle de droit. C'est de ça qu'il est question. Et nous sommes dans un environnement où nous sommes les premiers légalistes. Nous respectons la loi. La seule chose que nous demandons à notre pays, c'est que les principes de droit que nous-mêmes nous nous sommes fixés, que nous soyons capables de les respecter dans le strict respect des principes humains. Parce que la loi n'a que pour seule incidence la société. Et quand la société décide que les principes légaux doivent fonctionner comme ça, parce que celles-ci vont dans les aspirations du peuple, alors que ce soit comme ça. On ne peut pas reprocher à quelqu'un de rendre public ce qui a déjà été rendu public. Dans le cadre d'une élection, on dit les résultats sont rendus publics le jour du dépouillement dans le bureau de vote. Ça voudrait dire que après le dépouillement même, je suis en train de chuter pour que les gens puissent comprendre. Après le dépouillement, chaque candidat est à même de savoir s'il a gagné.
Merci, ça va bien. Merci. Let me take some few messages before we continue with our discussions. This one coming from Kum Elvis in Befang, that's in Womb, mentioned division. We just hope the planned strike action by the lawyers is not being manipulated by some political parties for their selfish intentions. Anyway, we'll advance them to receive the proposals from the government not to have a repeat of 2016 action by Anglophone lawyers. That's Kum Elvis in Womb. The UN made a number of declarations of recent on the present crisis. 10 billion francs CFA has just been handed to the government to improve on decentralization, bilingualism, and others. But most AMBA sympathizers have maintained a sealed lips to comment on the issues. Even majority of the private media in Cameroon don't know if it's not welcome. That's still Kum Elvis in Womb. This other message, this other one that's coming from another listener who is from Bamenda. He says, hi to all panelists in the studio. If the lawyers believe in the principle of destruction for construction, the strike cannot be called off. For me, Bridget, that's from Bamenda. I continue with the messages. This other one says, good evening to you in the studio. This is Christopher from Bamenda. I think the strike of the lawyers is coming on time. Now, can someone stay in cell for a year without being taken for trial? Criminals are government officials stealing taxpayers' money. We continue with the discussion. Prince, we're itchy to say something before I took Solomon.
Yeah, I think that when I listen to the other panelists speak, the charges, when I went through the charges that I leave it on Professor Maurice Kamto and his allies, I think they are synonymous. The other panelists will agree with me. They are synonymous to the charges that have been heaved or that were heaved on Sisiko Ayuk Tabe. That is attacking him for terrorism, for hostility against the state, and for insurrection. I believe those were the same crimes that Ayuk was tried for. And now, I think that the postponement of Professor Maurice Kamto's case today is just a political strategy. It's a political strategy because the government already has too much to handle, and the government think and fully aware that passing any decision on Maurice Kamto today is will be adding more salt to injury. I think Lasha were not ignorant to the million Cameroonians that were out today in the city of Yaoundé to watch the professor, or rather to be part of the hearing. I think that a lot of things have already, a lot of mistakes have been done already in the country, Cameroon. It is high time we started correcting some of these mistakes. Why am I saying so? I'm saying so because when we look at Maurice Kamto, first of all, the caliber of person he is, that is, as a legal mind that he is, anything he is doing, I just have the impression that Maurice Kamto is deliberately taking the Cameroonian government to a trap and wants the government to fall. Why am I saying so? I'm saying so because when Kamto came out and did the march that he did, he was fully aware that he will be arrested. That's the first thing, because he's not ignorant of that fact.
Yeah,
he was fully...
He's the one who crafted the...
That's what I'm saying. He was aware of it. It's just like he was fully aware that he will be arrested. He's not ignorant. Yeah. And each day he goes to court, we have never seen him being ignorant or apologizing or like showing an iota of regret. You know, there are times that you can commit a crime, Lash, and you go to prison, and at one moment you feel, you say, no, I think no. We've not seen him being hesitant. We've not seen him regretting. We've rather seen him being that stimful and thinking that he did the right thing. And but I fear a lot of things that may happen. I just feel that the president or the president of the country, Paul Biya, is playing a kind of political game. Why am I saying so? I'm saying so because the court where Maurice Kamto is judged, it is the head of state who manipulates that court. He's in a
what
military
do you mean
court.
by manipulate that court?
What am I saying so? I'm saying so because...
the separation of power in Cameroon, we have three arms of the government.
Correct. Let me say what I'm saying. So I'm saying so because in Cameroon, the immediate boss of the military court is the Minister of Justice. Okay? And now in Cameroon, we do not have a direct Minister of Justice. We have a minister delegate at the presidency in charge of justice. Okay? It means now that the person that is in charge of that that case is the head of state, which means that when the head of state at its own beck and call will decide, he may hit the nail, and hitting the nail, it may be very hard. Remember I said that the crime for which Maurice Kamto is being charged are synonymous to that of Ayuk Tabe Julius, which means that a same scenario, if at all, because this is the same case that happened to Ayuk, they said today they push to this day, from this day they push to this day. Because you cannot tell me why a court that is supposed to pass judgment on a day. For instance, if we ask the military court of today, or the person that was in charge of the case, Justice Abega, to tell Cameroonians why the case was pushed, there may not be any tangible reason. It is just a kind of a work plan by the state to keep prolonging the case, to keep manipulating Cameroonians. Why? So much such that at one time that they are off the game, the sentence comes up. That is what was done on Ayuk Julius and the others. Why? Because at the moment that Cameroonians were all eyes, all ears, nothing came out. But at midnight, I don't know in a country where they judge people at midnight, it's only in Cameroon I've seen it. At midnight and at 5 a.m. when people are supposedly sleeping, is when people wake up and they say it's finished for him. I believe that is the same game, that is the same tactic, that rather the military court is playing. And at one moment, don't be shocked, Lasha, if the powers that be, if the Maurice Kamto and other team of jurists that he has do not play the game and play it fast, that fate that occurred to Ayuk Julius may not be far from Kamto Maurice.
Good evening to you all at the studio, especially to my wonderful senior journalist, Joel. I think lawyers can call off the strike after meeting with government officials if the solution is concrete, because many Anglophones have lost souls, properties, and most often all the disruption of children's education. That's Bianca from Yaoundé. Mbaku Jude, I come back to you. Do you believe this case of Professor Maurice Kamto has a political inclination?
From day one, it had. And one of the things I pity the Cameroon government is that they have people like Minister Tanganji. It's such a regret. Because
when you say such a regret, what do you mean?
There are people who are non-strategic. They don't use strategy in diplomacy. They use iron fist. You don't govern a country by force. You don't do what this government is doing using those guys. I mean, at this point in the country's life, what we need is appeasement. Everywhere I go,
Maurice Kamto violated the laws of the land.
What
He was warned by the minister.
What minister? What minister?
According to what reports we have,
one of the things
he was told to refrain from his steps, his actions.
That's
he went ahead.
That's right. I want to make Cameroonians understand one thing: that the nation Cameroon belongs to every human being on this territory. It's not for some people, because the way they have made these laws is like there are some people who are visiting this country. All of us own Cameroon. And when you craft laws in a country, it goes to benefit every citizen of a country, be you a president or an ordinary tomato seller at Bamenda Fruit Market. So my worry with people like this is they have used this whole thing of violating the law like some set of bourgeoisies that consolidated all power to themselves, and they use it to impoverish, suffer, and punish with impunity the people they govern. That is what is happening to Cameroon. Because, like I'll go back to that anti-terrorism law, which they are using on Maurice Kamto, which has been used on Siseko Julius, and which I'm suspecting that it's going to be used on the two ladies. I'm talking about the mother and the sister of Chris Anu and Field Marshal. I mean, these are laws, these anti-terrorism laws are laws that are already being used on some innocent students.
For exchanging messages.
However innocent they may be, but for just texting, for sending an image, I don't know how innocent a child can send an image and become a terrorist. How do we define a terrorist in Cameroon? That will take a law, will craft a law to just kill people, to just break people up, to just maim people, to put them in prison for life and think that we are doing good to a nation. We are not doing any good to this nation. The terrorism law in this country is that which, if we had gone by that law, Siseko and Co. should be, in fact, they should die by death penalty. Maurice Kamto should die by death penalty. These other two ladies I'm talking about, they should die by death penalty. Even many people who are in jail, they should be dying by death penalty. But why are they not giving that death penalty? Because even the people who are passing this verdict, they know the reality on ground, that these people are just, the real terrorists are the ones who have caused these people to begin to open their voices and speak for this nation. The real terrorists are in Kondenge. The real terrorists have embezzled close to 200 billion for a single man in his pocket. These are people who have hijacked the country. The real terrorists are working in cars across this town every day, occupying government offices, making pronouncements which are rather causing the disunity of this state.
Thank you.
Those are the real terrorists of Cameroon.
I will come back to you. Let me take these few messages. Once again, good evening to you all in the studio. I am Sonny from I like the program. The people respect the 10 days lockdown in the two Anglophone regions to safeguard their lives and property. We should stop pretending. The right measures should be put in place to bring peace so that things should come back to normalcy in these two regions. Good evening to you all once again in the studio. I am Sonny from Yaoundé. The lawyer strike is appropriate and the government should grant their demands and satisfy them. They want to strike because they are not happy. Fire Tayon Evis.
Well, you know, we have been talking. We continue to talk. And each time we talk, some quarters over there in Yaoundé think that we have gone insane. And so at times they say, so it tells you the magnitude of the caliber of persons we have that governs this nation. I said earlier, when you are talking about, Denis Sassou Nguesso was today in Elysee Palace, I think some few 48 hours ago or so in Elysee Palace. And Emmanuel Macron was telling him, please, make sure that you release political prisoners. We have seen the issue in DRC, where Felix Tshisekedi is working on releasing political prisoners. Our own situation here is different. For our own here, if we also trouver down, si je savais. That is what takes us along. It boils down to what Mbako Jude is saying, iron fist in the present day dispensation of crisis. If Professor Maurice Kamto and co are incarcerated and they complain that their basic rights have been taken away from them, even prisoners have basic rights too. They have basic rights. When you keep adjourning cases that have been there for 6 months, above 6 months rather, and when the law even states that they were supposed to be there for 6 months, and then for their case to be reviewed, it was not only reviewed, the same military court that they themselves, beyond reasonable doubt, have proven that have advanced that and is not supposed to be in charge of that case but the civil court. The government says it has an agenda to take along. So when you look at the critical things that move, I want to let us know that there are a series of question marks as to the capability of the court in Yaoundé. Series of question marks. Because when you handle a case and you keep adjourning, let me take you over to Nigeria. When the case of Ayuk Tabezeku and other like was put in place, Abuja High Court would have taken that case the first day, but the chief judge was not around, and he gave his excuse. He was out on a mission. The second time the case was programmed, verdict came up. It's left now for the states to respect or not to respect. But look at Cameroon's kangaroo system. That you can be remanded in custody and you get adjournments, more than 20, 25 adjournments, as if you have to go and get witnesses from the space, from moon. Europe is even better because if a witness is in Europe, he can travel overnight. Within 5 hours, he's in Cameroon. It looks like we have to go to Pluto, to Mars, to Neptune, to get witnesses to come down to Cameroon and answer in court before they go back to Neptune, which means that it needs Apollo 11 to bring the space shuttle, to bring them here and take them back. You see why I say Cameroon is acting in a kangaroo system? So, we act at extremes. If you look at Professor Maurice Kamto, he had agitated. You cannot be putting me to trial behind closed doors. Because before the case begins, the military have occupied the entire seat, courtroom. And when people come, they say there's no space.
And the judge is in military dress.
I've gone there 2 times as a media man and have been sent away in Yaoundé. I presented my car as a journalist coming to cover this case. And I stay for party for I see.
Did you bother to find out if you were supposed to apply for accreditation? Excuse
me. Court cases, so long as you follow the rules in court, you don't disturb. You are not a nuisance. You don't carry firearms. And even at the entrance, you present yourself as a Cameroonian without any potential danger. You don't. There is no law that states that you should go and carry accreditation to come and cover the court case. Sure. It's only in Cameroon that some of the people have made it a system that you must go and apply elsewhere. It doesn't function like that. Before these cases, I've covered several cases in Bamenda. I just need to go and sit in a courtroom, fold my arms.
But not in a military court.
Military court is court. Why not talk about military court? Is the military court different from civilian court? The only difference in the military court is that it's supposed to try cases dealing with treason and concerning military men. Those who have shown beyond reasonable doubt they have acted as a potential threat to the state by treason. That's the function of the military court. If you are caught with firearms and all the like, how many of those at the military court had firearms when they were caught? It therefore means that their position at the military court is dumbfounded. And it's court, any legal system, once it's proven that you come there to attend You are a national in that country, for example. You have a reason to sit in court and hear the case. So long as you don't post as a nuisance to that court. And that's why I said that we have made it a duty by putting wrong laws. For me to cover a case as a journalist, I must not go and apply anywhere. Just like for you to cover an event, you must not take a year when you are doing 20 May or 11 February. You go and apply to the GO and not like for accreditation. As a media man, whereby you are known within the territorial body as a journalist, you are not supposed to be applying for accreditation. So long as you are known in the area where you are.
So what is the motivation or the rationale behind the military judge barring people from
the simple thing is that they don't want people to understand the procedures. That is why Professor Maurice Kamto was firm on his communique before today that it should not be in private and everybody should have access to the court. I am surprised that the court judge is saying today that the courtroom was small.
As one of the detainees fainted.
Fainted or not fainted, the court is supposed to put in place all the procedures, all the parameters. Last time in the case of Ayuk Tabe, when we went there to cover the case, they were telling us how the speakers were not working well. You get kind of flimsy excuses. Your courtroom is supposed to prepare. If it means to put it air condition, because
man creates machine and machine disappoints.
No, it's your own machine that disappoints you. In the case of that case at that magnitude, you are supposed to take precautions as a state. Air conditions put in place, security put in place. If you know that you are taking Maurice Kamto, who is a public figure, you should not complain of the courtroom is small. A case that is supposed to hold at the military tribunal, you can transfer it to another courtroom that can take 1,000 persons. Why is it that in the case of the constitutional court meeting, when it has to do with litigations concerning presidential elections, it was a large courtroom, a very large courtroom.
Oh, yeah, so that was presidential election.
Presidential election, yes.
I will come back to you. Let me take some few messages, televiewers. Hello to you all in the studio. If the lawyers call off the strike action, then I will believe that bribery and corruption has been introduced by the state so as to water down the angers of the lawyers. We know that our government is capable of doing that. Let the lawyers denounce the evils of the regime in place by going ahead with the strike action. Because in Cameroon, there are people who are above the law. The situation is deplorable and lamentable. In fact, like seriously, the judicial system of Cameroon is catastrophic. That's the Tabot Makaveli from Yaoundé. Salamon Bia, je reviens à vous maintenant. Quelle sera ta réaction si Maurice Kamto est condamné aujourd'hui?
Ça ne sera pas une surprise. Puis en réalité,
et frapper fort, pas seulement condamné, frapper fort.
Écoutez,
quelle sera ta réaction et celle de MRC?
Parce que quand je rentre quelques années en arrière, je n'étais pas encore né en 1971. Dans le même tribunal militaire, on avait jugé un homme qui était condamné à mort. Il s'appelait Ernest Ouandi. Et le seul crime qu'il avait commis, c'était de vouloir protéger les intérêts des Camerounais face à ceux-là qui sont considérés aujourd'hui comme des prévaricateurs. Et ce qui est étonnant dans ça, c'est qu'en 1991, il avait été reconnu par les institutions camerounaises comme étant le héros national. Nous n'avons pas seulement vécu ça au Cameroun. C'est pour ça que nous, qui combattons le système jacobin de Louis-Paul Ojoula, qui a éliminé les vrais Camerounais, dont Ernest Ouandi faisait partie, a eu ses adeptes, qui sont aujourd'hui ceux-là qui se sont accaparés des institutions de l'État et qui volent les élections au quotidien, comme ça s'est passé en 2018. Mais je suis en train de vous expliquer.
Monsieur Salomon Bia, les élections viennent d'achever et les Camerounais ont voté pour
Je suis en train de vous expliquer qu'en réalité, dans tous les systèmes crédibles du monde, quand quelqu'un gagne les élections pendant 37 ans, c'est qu'il ne peut pas gagner dans la transparence. Ce n'est pas possible dans un système démocratique. On ne peut pas gagner les élections 8 fois dans un système crédible. Ce n'est pas possible. Nous qui avons été sur le terrain, nous savons comment ça s'est passé. Je peux expliquer de bout en bout ce que j'ai vu de mes yeux vus.
Mais quand le professeur Maurice Kamto est sorti, pourquoi la population que vous estimez qu'ils ont voté pour lui ne sont pas sortis?
Mais c'est même ça là où le bas blesse.
Il était en Dokoti, on a vu personne. Il n'y avait pas personne derrière lui.
Il y a quelque chose. Je vais vous dire quelque chose au-delà de l'intimidation. Est-ce que vous savez que j'ai essayé de parfaire ce que ma société dans laquelle j'évolue a voulu tracer comme chemin un enfant, de la maternelle à l'école primaire, au secondaire et même au supérieur. Est-ce que vous savez que tout ce qu'on m'a enseigné n'a rien à voir avec la réalité qui s'est passée dans ce pays? C'est que la vraie destruction de l'homme, est-ce celle-là qu'un système met en place pour enlever à l'homme l'intelligence qu'il doit avoir, pour mieux appréhender des choses, afin de lui enlever sa dignité et après lui enlever ce qu'il a de précieux, la vie. C'est ce que ce système a fait depuis 37 ans. Dépouiller le Camerounais de ce qu'il a d'essentiel, l'intelligence.
Les Camerounais continuent toujours à
Je
voter
suis en
pour
train
le
de
système.
vous expliquer. En réalité, les gens ne comprennent même pas ce qui se passe. Parce qu'on crée des pseudo-intellectuels, on crée des pseudo-citoyens, ceux-là qui n'ont pas l'intelligence nécessaire de comprendre ce qui se passe. Et en même temps, on met les canons derrière eux pour les empêcher de crier et de manifester même une liberté. C'est de ça qu'il est question. Si on essaie d'enlever un seul canon dans la rue pour tester la popularité de Maurice Kamto, il n'y aura pas moyen. Il n'y aura même pas un endroit pour pisser. Parce que la vérité est que les Camerounais ont répondu massivement au professeur Maurice Kamto. Et c'est pour ça qu'il est le président élu par le peuple.
Mais on l'a abandonné quand il est sorti.
Au-delà de toutes les forfaitures, c'est vous qui avez dit ça.
Mais on a vu les images. Il était en Dokoti seul.
Le procès devait se tenir à Yaoundé. Pourquoi militariser Ndokoti? PK14, Bonanjo, Bonaberi, avant. On a peur de quoi? Et le même dispositif était à Loum, Njombe Penjambanga. Mais c'était seulement à Yaoundé que le professeur Maurice Kamto devait être jugé. Pourquoi cette phobie? Pourquoi cette peur?
Merci, je reviens à Prince. Prince, do you think that this regime, there can be any clemency when it comes to this case of Professor Maurice Kamto?
I fear no. I fear no. Why am I saying so? I'm saying so because Professor Maurice Kamto, as of now, you know, there is something we need to make it very clear here, Lasha. The thing is that Professor Maurice Kamto is different from other politicians who went in for the presidential elections. Why am I saying so? The other politicians accepted defeat. Till date, Kamto has not affected. He has not accepted. It means even as he is still in the military tribunal, go to Kamto and ask him whether have you now or can you now accept that Biya won, and you didn't, he will still tell you he won. So that is the first thing. And given that I know the president of the country, Paul Biya, he's that kind of a president who will not tolerate any person who will jeopardize his position. Because there is no way the head of state, Paul Biya, will ever send Kamto back. No. Why am I saying so? Because the head of state will rather accept Kamto denounces. When I talk of denounces, is they redefines his position of, if you just listen to him, he said, le président élu. It means the president elected. It means till date, even militants of the political party it has not dawned on the militants who are already close to a year after the presidential elections. Yet, they are still of the opinion that their candidate, Professor Maurice Kamto, won. So there is no way this head of state, his entourage, will ever advise him to liberate Professor Maurice Kamto. The only game they can do is keep prolonging. If people like
what about international pressure?
Not in Cameroon. There's no international pressure in Cameroon. It is very glaring. It's glaring because a very simple example is the case of Ayuk Julius. Nobody, let me not say nobody, let me not generalize. Individually, I am one of those who had never thought that the head of state or that the military tribunal could give a life jail sentence to Maurice.
Ayuk Tabe auto-proclaimed himself president, created his own flag.
And it is
his anthem, currency, and
no, he
so
did
many
not.
other
He did not.
things.
People came up with things, and he came up as a spearheader. He was just a person who was sent up to represent a well of people.
Which means that he bought into the ideas.
I mean, he bought into. That's it. We are saying
which
the
is
same
totally
language.
against the state, the
That
fundamental laws of Cameroon.
It is, Lasha, it is only in Cameroon where you don't have people are not free. You don't give people the opportunity to be free thinkers. What I'm saying is this. if people like Michelle Ndoki, who merely marched on the street, a lawyer, could have 6 months. I mean, in her case, just for moving, now 6 months. Then Maurice Kamto, just wait. We're in Cameroon, you're going to see what will happen. What the military tribunal will be doing is from time to time, they'll keep shifting Professor Maurice Kamto's case. They'll keep shifting it. And at one moment, like today, I want to tell you that one of the reasons why the professor's case was pushed, from information I had, was the fact that all ears and eyes were waiting for what will happen. That is the reason. And they knew that if we dare it today, something hard will come to Cameroon. Because, the Jamaican musician once said, he said, you can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool all the people all the time. I believe that we're living in a country where people have been deceived a lot. The people at one time will rise. And when the people will rise, both the army put together may not put them down. I'm still saying that, Lasha, do not expect that the regime in place will release Professor Maurice Kamto, except the professor redefines, restructures his words. And those words are the words of that he won the presidential elections. And the international community cannot mount any pressure on the head of state. We have seen it. The international community, Le Monde Avenue, International Transparency, the American senators, the American Senate met.
But there are international treaties that Cameroon has
ratified. Cameroon does. The same day that the American Senate said that all political prisoners should be freed was the same day that Ayo Sisiko was slammed a life jail sentence. It is in Cameroon. Our head of state, I don't know whether he thinks he's untouchable. He does not respect international pressure. He rather does and uses his government spokesperson, Rene Emmanuel Sadi.
Don't you think the very people are giving him the support, are backing him behind closed door?
That is what I think. Because I was just answering your question to tell you that the international community cannot. You see, today we have been hearing that letters have come on a demand qu'on doit libérer Professor Maurice Kamto. Is it today? We have heard that thing is close to months, yet nothing is happening. And I still feel that so far, and like I said before, it's very simple. Like you were saying, Lasha, each time militants of the MRC want to have just a small sitting in Douala, it is not only the divisional officer for Douala 1 who says no. It is the entire divisional officers who say no to it. It means that I don't know why people, why they always see a bomb.
We've had cases like what Jean-Jacques Ekindi and His Eminence Christian Cardinal Ntumi were organizing. We all saw that they were blocked from the issue.
Remember from day one, Lasha.
So it's not only the
Lasha from
the
day
MRC
one,
political
from
party.
day one, Lasha, they gave them a go-ahead.
Yeah.
It is not the first time Jean-Jacques Ekindi held that conference. It is when the government discovered that there was a modules, there was something hidden inside of it. While living in a country that is willing, amongst those of you attended, I attended, he was there. Now, amongst those who are attending, there are people who are paid by the state. The moment the government discovers that in this thing you are telling us it is just a meeting for people to discuss, the moment the government discovers that there is something aimed at jeopardizing the state, when I talk of jeopardizing, it is reducing their powers. Because they have made their powers in such a way that they will not want any person that can step in and bring it down. So the moment they discover now that Jean-Jacques Ekindi wants to change his movement to a kind of a political strategy, or want to change it to what Christian Cardinal Ntumi was doing, they now told him no way to it. And in as much as he doesn't change his stance, it is
Christian
going to be...
Cardinal Ntumi is not a politician.
We're not talking about politicians.
He's a religious leader.
What is his ideology? His ideology is to bring all those who are concerned in the different political domains to sit on the dialogue table, which the head of state does not want. The head of state does not want.
Okay, Prince. Good evening, everyone on Prime R. I am Dixon, writing from Yaoundé. I think this thing is not longer a lawyer government strike, but what has to do even with the commoners. My family is scattered. My mom is on her own. My dad is on her own, on his own. My brothers now is just anyone for himself, God for us all. All government should stop sharing foodstuff and bring solutions. We have food getting bad in the farms. We don't need those foodstuff being given to us by government officials. I continue with this one. Good evening, everyone to all of you at the studio. This war that was declared on the Anglophone will not end now because of the bad faith of La République. People are being killed every day, and what the government does is telling lies by saying all is well. God will punish all of them. Diodene from Kumba. I want to thank Prince Joel and Mr. Far Evis for speaking the truth. It's Dakolo from Bamenda. This other one says, hi to all of you in the studio. If the lawyers believe in the principle of destruction for construction, I already took this other message. Hi once more to you panelists in the studio. How just is the justice system of Cameroon, or department in Cameroon, with a regime suffering from inflexible and lacustrous attitude? For me, Bridget from Bamenda. This other one, good evening, televiewers, dear panelists. Why is Francophone keep calling us secessionists? They forgot that the real secessionist here is Paul Biya. We Anglophones need to shine our eyes, because truly these people are not considering us as Cameroonians. They have wiped away all our identity in this union. Then that's the need for us still being in the same union with them. It's time to take back what belongs to us. Augustine from Monya. This other one here, good evening to everyone in the studio. The problem in this issue is from the Cameroon government of the nation that does not want to listen to the people of the country, because they don't want the truth from the people. Is Bruno from Bamenda. Good evening. Furthermore, we are seeing now that the government of Cameroon have turned the school system to the political issues. We here goes campaigning people to go to school by sharing bags and money to the people. Still by Bruno from Bamenda. Faitayon Evis. What do you have to say about the message of Bruno from Bamenda?
Me and Ella said this issue of sharing food. Bags, books, Chinese books, for that matter, is no news. Because there is someone who takes rightly, food is getting bad in the farms. You see, you cannot come and give somebody rice today, rice tomorrow, you're paying to be eating rice every day, unless you want that person to have kwashiorkor. And that is why we will soon have another disease coming up. Kwashiorkor of the first order. Because all they give is rice. If they mean business, they should go to Njombe Penja, buy yams, buy cocoa yams, varieties, and come and give. But the question now is, must the people sit for you to come and give them? Have they been beggars before? Must you render people beggars? No. These people are hardworking. And so, that system is counterproductive. What Yaoundé should do should be to solve the problem. People will go back to their farms and begin to eat their plantains, their cocoyams, their potatoes, their vegetables, and they'll be eating happily. I said sometimes, you cannot come to Bonaberi in a room where you have 10 persons sleeping. The 10 IDPs go out and take 10 mattresses. Where would they keep them? You come to somebody whose house has been burned, set ablaze, and you come here and you give him mattresses. Will he sleep under a palm tree? These are things I said that people don't reason before they do things. And the more we take that, it's an insult to us. Those of us IDPs. I did not come to Douala because I love coming to Douala. Situations forced me to come.
Thank you.
So we think that while wrapping up, those who are watching us, be the actors of the state, should help us do their job, because they have refused to do their job, that we should suffer. All right, too.
Mbaku Jude, why military tribunal judging the case of Maurice Kamto?
That's the best way to nail whoever. That's the best court that you can, that the executive.
Yeah, despite the fact that the Cameroon has ratified the African Charter on.
Does Cameroon care about those charters? There are many of those things that are brandished and kept aside. The constitutions had it clear on Article 45 or so, that a law or a ratified clause in the international scene should supersede any local law. But in Cameroon, it's funny that these guys have kept all those ratified laws. Every day we hear Parliament saying, as a President of the Republic, we ratify, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it does not go into effect. So these are things that Cameroon, we know that are happening in Cameroon. And I'm very saddened and feel pity for Cameroon. Mugabe is teaching us lessons. And life itself is teaching us that one day we'll quit the sin. And when you quit the sin, things will be done the right way if you don't want to do it now. The truth is, when the government keeps having problems here, then the problem is not the people. The problem is that government. And as they continue to bundle people and keep in that Kondengi, one day you just realize that the Kondengi itself will just explode by automatic. So it's a very serious pity that I have for Cameroon government and the people who think that they own Cameroon and are managing it the way they want to now.
Solomon, est-ce qu'il y a une possibilité que les procédures de Maurice Kamto va être ouvertes au public?
C'est ce que nous avons demandé. Nous avons demandé ça, nous avons posé ces bases. Et ce sont les bases qui supplantent une justice équitable. Une justice qui doit évoluer dans un pays où on respecte les lois. La publicité du procès. Le droit pour un justiciable d'avoir un procès équitable. Le droit d'être défendu. C'est ça. Ce sont les seuls préalables. Si nous voulons démontrer aux yeux du monde que nous sommes un pays de droit, ce sont les seuls préalables qu'on respecte partout ailleurs. Mais nous savons que nous sommes dans un pays où nos dirigeants ne respectent rien. Ils piétinent tout. Parce qu'ils savent que la population, même l'ensemble des Camerounais, ne les aime plus. Ne leur font plus confiance. Si on fait un référendum aujourd'hui sur les membres de ce gouvernement, personne ne sera admis. Parce que c'est un gouvernement qui a échoué et qui est en train d'utiliser la force pour s'imposer. Tout le monde le voit. Donc nous ne sommes pas surpris que nos demandes, bien que légitimes, soient refusées. Mais ce que nous disons est qu'en réalité, il ne s'agit pas d'un problème de Maurice Kamto ou du MRC. Il s'agit d'un problème de tous les Camerounais qui sont victimes au quotidien dans la rue par cette même injustice, qui sont piétinés, dont l'honneur est enlevé et même la dignité. Nous n'allons pas oublier les décès des gens comme les Bibi Ngota. Nous n'allons pas oublier les gens qui meurent dans des prisons alors qu'ils n'ont même jamais été jugés. Nous n'allons pas oublier ces personnes qui vivent de nombreuses injustices criardes tous les jours au Cameroun et dont nous dénonçons. La seule chose que nous demandons, c'est qu'effectivement la justice serve les intérêts du peuple camerounais et qu'elle ne soit pas une justice aux ordres qui est contrôlée par un groupe d'individus qui n'ont pour seul devoir et seul but de manipuler la justice à leurs propres intérêts et à des fins politiques.
Merci Salomon. Good evening to you all. I am Mirabel Lenge from Mile 14. I support the idea of the lawyers. Besides, Cameroon need a change. The problems in Cameroon have made the government to be confused that they cannot do the right thing. Again, the God will from my fall. The God will from my fall. We continue with this other message. I want to thank Prince Joel and Mr. Fal Evis for speaking the truth. There is no pressure from the international community because had it been there was one, the Anglophones wouldn't have been dying. Greetings to Prince Joel. It's Dakolo in Bamenda. To this other message, son of God, the light, the CBDM at times behaves like an amoeba, separate themselves into petty factions, behaves as if they are. Please stop calling us. Please stop calling us. We cannot take your calls, please. Cannot take your calls. If they are fighting to distract Cameroonians' attention while the government remains in office, is another deadly political strategy. CBDM, no matter who works on party discipline in diverse manner, see how much room political parties created and later to form presidential majority. Man is political being, no matter the number of lawyers, no effects, they will all wrong. All petition after election in Cameroon, meaning those lawyers are not trained, don't know the law. How? That's Prince Kumgang Bongu George from Buya. We are rounding up. Your last word, Prince Joel?
I think that Lasha has been an opportunity. There is something we've said here which I may just throw a light on. This advent of giving people bags, books, and food. I think that it is another strategy, it's another failed strategy by the CPDM and the politi and those that go by it. And it's a shame that our colleagues of the noble profession, journalism, which have been battling with some of them, have been carrying very long titles that are not even good for the print media to shower praises. We know very well that when one does that, we know that some huge income must have been pumped. With your permission, Lasha, let me say maybe a special good evening to all those who have watched us from the Northwest region, and precisely to you, Acho Daniel Dakolo, who watched us from the Northwest. Thanks
It was a pleasure having you.
It is always a pleasure being in the house. We are always ready to answer your call.
The only thing I can say is that if all of us decide to be speaking the truth and nothing but the truth, this country will change. Now that even journalists, some of them newspaper editors, have entered the kangaroo system and they collect money to write stories, killing their profession itself, the odontology of the profession, it is sad that people can be hungry and be mean to that level.
Thank you very much for coming, Fire Evis.
Thank you very much, and I think that I will always try my possible best to be here despite the kangaroo system and the nature in which we find ourselves.
Thank you. Paku Jude, it was equally a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much, Kingsley Lasha. I just want to say that we own this country, all of us, and we've realized that at this level we have mindsets to change. We have a society to build. Everyone must take your responsibility wherever you are. Act, do something now, or forever remain, keep your mouth shut.
Salomon Bia, c'était aussi un plaisir de t'accueillir.
Le plaisir est partagé. Je dirais même que c'est un honneur pour moi de me donner la possibilité de parler aux Camerounais. Je voudrais profiter par cette voie pour apporter mon soutien total au professeur Maurice Kamto, ses alliés et la coalition gagnante, de maintenir le pouvoir, cette pression sur le système en place, de maintenir le combat qu'ils sont en train de mener parce que chaque génération a ses héros. Les Oumniobo ont planté la République, les NS Wandji ont continué avec le combat. Aujourd'hui, il apparaît que c'est Maurice Kamto qui doit sortir le Cameroun du gouffre dans lequel nous sommes. Ça ne doit pas se faire comme du beurre dans du pain. Ce n'est pas aussi aisé, c'est dans la douleur que ça va se construire. Mais j'interpelle tous les Camerounais d'avoir un sursaut d'honnêteté parce que cette République n'appartient pas au MRC, ça appartient à tous les Camerounais. Et nous avons intérêt de revoir la mémoire collective et de construire le Cameroun pour nos enfants qui arrivent.
To all those who took time to watch the program and send us messages, we say I thank you so much, and big up to our technicians out there, and we say goodbye. It's goodbye from us. From wherever you are watching us, stay tuned to more programs on My Media Prime Television. I'm Lasha Kingsley in Douala, Cameroon. Bye-bye for now.